Your sister always knew how to satisfy me. You never did. My husband Mark said at our anniversary dinner while my sister Emma smirked beside him. I excused myself, sent the video I'd been recording to his entire family, and walked out forever. Now his mother disowned him, Emma's engagement is destroyed, and they're both homeless begging me to take them back. Hey, before we move on to the video, please subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. Thanks. I need to explain how we got here, because what happened at that restaurant was just the disgusting climax of months of betrayal I'd been silently documenting. I'm Rachel, 32, and I thought I had the perfect marriage. Mark and I had been together for 6 years, married for 3. We owned a beautiful house together, had successful careers, and I genuinely believed we were happy. My younger sister Emma, 28, was my best friend. She'd just gotten engaged to her longtime boyfriend David and was planning her dream wedding. I was her maid of honor, helping her with everything from dress shopping to venue hunting. What I didn't know was that for the past 8 months, Mark and Emma had been having an affair right under my nose. In my house, in my bed, while I was working late or traveling for business. The first sign something was wrong came 3 months ago. I noticed Mark had become distant, constantly on his phone, working late more often. When I asked about it, he'd snap at me or accuse me of being clingy. God, Rachel, can't I have 5 minutes without you breathing down my neck? He'd say. Classic cheater behavior, but I trusted him completely. Emma, meanwhile, seemed more interested in my marriage than her own wedding planning. She'd ask weird questions about Mark's schedule, our bedroom life, whether we were having problems. I thought she was just being a concerned sister. How stupid I was. My cousin Jessica worked at the same marketing firm as Emma and later told me she'd noticed Emma and Mark having lunch together frequently. I thought it was weird, Jessica admitted months later, but I didn't want to cause drama over nothing. She'd watched them laughing intimately, touching each other's hands, but convinced herself it was innocent. That silent witness guilt would eat at her later. The escalation happened gradually, then all at once. Mark started picking fights with me over nothing. I'd suggest dinner at a restaurant we both loved, and he'd say, God, you have such boring taste. Can't you think of anywhere exciting? When I tried to initiate intimacy, he'd reject me cruelly. I'm tired, Rachel. Maybe if you put in some effort to be attractive, I'd be more interested. Meanwhile, Emma was becoming increasingly cruel to me while playing the perfect sister in public. She'd make little digs about my appearance, my cooking, my career. Mark must get so bored with your work stories, she'd laugh. You're not exactly the most exciting person. When I'd get hurt, she'd gaslight me. I'm just being honest. That's what sisters do. Stop being so sensitive. The worst part was how they'd gang up on me when we were all together. At family dinners, they'd share inside jokes I didn't understand. They'd reference conversations I wasn't part of. Mark would defend Emma's opinions over mine, even about things he'd never cared about before. Emma's right, Rachel. You do overthink everything. 3 weeks ago, I started noticing Emma's car parked near our neighborhood when I'd come home early from work. Mark would be out running errands, but his location sharing would be turned off. One day, I pretended to leave for work, but came back an hour later. Emma's car was in my driveway. I sat in my car and called Mark. Hey babe, what are you up to? Just working from home today. Pretty boring, he lied smoothly. Weird, Emma's car is in our driveway. A pause. Oh yeah, she stopped by to drop off wedding stuff for you. She's not staying long. I hung up and waited. 2 hours later, Emma left looking disheveled, checking her appearance in her car mirror. When I confronted Mark that evening, he had a story ready. She was upset about David and needed someone to talk to. You know how emotional she gets. That's when I knew. That's when the quiet rage settled in, cold and calculating. I started documenting everything. I installed a security camera in our bedroom that looked like a phone charger. I screenshot every lie, every suspicious text, every inconsistency. I hired a private investigator who confirmed what I already knew. They were meeting at hotels, at Emma's apartment when David was traveling, and yes, in my house when I was gone. But I didn't confront them. I didn't scream or cry or beg. I just watched and planned. The turning point came when I realized they weren't just having an affair, they were mocking me. The PI showed me photos of them at restaurants, laughing, Emma wearing jewelry I'd never seen before that Mark was clearly buying her. They looked like a couple. They looked happy. They looked like they thought they were getting away with the perfect crime. What they didn't know was that our house was in my name only. Mark had been between jobs when we bought it, So I'd qualified for the mortgage alone and never added him to the deed. He'd been contributing to payments, but legally, he had no claim to the property. They also didn't know that I'd been documenting his financial infidelity too. Hotel rooms charged to our joint credit card, jewelry purchases, expensive dinners I wasn't at. I had everything itemized, categorized, and saved. Our wedding anniversary was last Tuesday. Mark suggested we go to this upscale Italian place downtown. Let's celebrate properly, he said, actually seeming excited for the first time in months. I thought maybe he was going to confess, maybe try to make things right. Instead, it was a trap. We'd been seated for maybe 10 minutes when Emma walked in. Oh my God, what a coincidence, she squealed, approaching our table. I was just meeting a friend, but they canceled. Mind if I join you two lovebirds? Mark's performance was Oscar-worthy. Of course not. The more the merrier, right, Rachel? I knew this was planned. I knew they wanted me to watch them together, maybe push me to cause a scene so I'd be the crazy, jealous wife. Instead, I pulled out my phone and started recording, holding it casually like I was checking messages. That's when they got comfortable. That's when they stopped pretending. Emma started talking about how unhappy she was with David. He's so boring, you know? No passion, no excitement. Nothing like. She glanced at Mark meaningfully. Well, nothing like what a real relationship should be. Mark nodded sympathetically. You deserve someone who appreciates you, Emma. Someone who sees how incredible you are. They were sitting across from me, but they might as well have been alone. They were looking into each other's eyes, their hands inching closer across the table. I kept recording. Sometimes I think about what it would be like, Emma said, to be with someone who actually wanted me. Someone who thought I was beautiful. You are beautiful, Mark said softly. Any man would be lucky to have you. That's when Emma went for the kill. She looked directly at me and said, It's funny how some women just don't know how to keep their men happy, isn't it? Mark laughed, actually laughed, and said the words that ended everything. Your sister always knew how to satisfy me. You never did. The restaurant noise faded. Everything went crystal clear. I watched Emma smirk with satisfaction. I watched Mark realize what he'd just said out loud. I watched them both wait for me to explode, to cry, to make a scene. Instead, I stood up calmly. Excuse me, I need to use the restroom. In the bathroom, I uploaded the video to every platform I could think of. Mark's family group chat with his parents, siblings, aunts, uncles. Emma's friend group. My family chat. David's contact info that I pulled from Emma's Instagram. His family members I could find. My coworkers who knew them both. The message was simple. I thought you should see what Mark and Emma really think of me. By the time I walked back to the table, both their phones were exploding, buzzing constantly with calls and messages. They hadn't looked at them yet. They were too busy whispering intimately, probably planning their next move. I sat down and waited. Mark's phone rang. His mother's contact photo lit up the screen. Then Emma's phone. Then Mark's again. Different family members, one after another. Maybe you should answer, I said quietly. Mark's face went white as he saw the notifications. 17 missed calls. 43 unread messages. He looked at Emma, who was staring at her own phone in horror. What did you do? Emma whispered. I shared your beautiful words with the people who love you most, I said, standing up again. Happy anniversary, Mark. Congratulations on your engagement, Emma. I hope you're both very happy together. I left them there, sitting in the wreckage of their perfect plan, surrounded by the sound of their phones ringing with the consequences of their cruelty. The fallout was swift and devastating. Mark's mother called me that night, sobbing. Rachel, honey, I am so sorry. We had no idea. What he said to you. How they humiliated you. It's unforgivable. She'd watched the video and immediately disinherited Mark from the family business. His father, a man of few words, sent one text to Mark, Don't come home. David called me too, his voice shaking with rage. I trusted her. I trusted both of them. The wedding is off. I'm keeping the ring since I apparently paid for her to cheat on me. Emma's friends were brutal. Screenshots of their group chat where they called her a disgusting homewrecker and the sister from hell made their way back to me. Her maid of honor publicly quit on Instagram with a post that went viral. When your best friend destroys her own family for dick, you find better friends. But the calls from Mark and Emma were the most pathetic part. Mark called first, around midnight. Rachel, baby, please. You don't understand. It didn't mean anything. I was drunk. I was confused. Emma threw herself at me. Please, we can work through this. I didn't answer. I let it go to voicemail and deleted it without listening. Emma tried next. Rachel, you're my sister. How could you destroy my life like this? David left me. All my friends hate me. Mom and Dad are ashamed of me. You've ruined everything over a stupid mistake. Still didn't answer. The messages got more desperate. Mark promised to cut contact with Emma, to go to therapy, to do whatever it takes. Emma blamed him, said he seduced her, said she was the real victim. Then they started blaming me. I was vindictive. I was cruel. I should have talked to them privately instead of destroying their lives. By Friday, Mark was served with divorce papers and an eviction notice. By law, I had to give him 30 days, but I made sure he knew exactly how unwelcome he was. I changed the locks and left his belongings and boxes on the porch. Emma lost her job when her boss saw the video making rounds on social media. Conduct unbecoming of our company values, the termination letter read. David took back the apartment they'd shared since it was in his name only. Within a week, Mark was sleeping on his friend's couch and Emma had moved back in with our parents, who barely spoke to her. Within 2 weeks, Mark's friend kicked him out because his girlfriend felt uncomfortable having a cheater in her house. Emma's applications for new apartments kept getting rejected when landlords Googled her name and found the video. They tried to team up, which was almost funny. Mark reached out to Emma to present a united front and figure out how to fix this together. But Emma, in true form, threw him completely under the bus. She posted on social media about how she was the victim of an older man's manipulation and how she regretted her mistakes. She painted Mark as a predator who took advantage of her vulnerability. That backfired too, because everyone knew Emma wasn't some naive victim. She was a grown woman who'd calculatedly betrayed her own sister. The post got ratioed with comments like, "Take accountability for once in your life," and "Your sister deserved better than both of you." The final twist came 3 weeks later. Jessica, my cousin who'd witnessed their affair but stayed quiet, couldn't handle the guilt anymore. She called me crying. "Rachel, I should have told you sooner. I saw them together so many times. I knew what was happening, but I didn't want to get involved. I'm so sorry. I failed you as family." Hearing that validation, knowing that someone else had seen their betrayal and could confirm I wasn't crazy, was healing in a way I didn't expect. Jessica became an unexpected ally, someone who understood the full scope of what they'd done to me. Mark made one final attempt at reconciliation last month. He showed up at my workplace, cornering me in the parking garage. "Rachel, please. I know I hurt you, but this has gone too far. I've lost everything. My family won't speak to me. I can't find anywhere to live. Emma won't even return my calls now. I'm sleeping in my car. Please, can't we just talk?" I looked at him, really looked at him. This man who'd shared my bed for 6 years, who I'd trusted with my heart, my home, my future, who'd mocked my ability to satisfy him while cheating with my own sister, who'd laughed at my pain during what should have been a celebration of our love. "You said Emma always knew how to satisfy you, and I never did," I said quietly. "So go be satisfied. Just not in my life." I walked away and never looked back. The divorce was finalized 2 weeks ago. Mark got nothing, no house, no assets, no alimony. His infidelity was so well documented that his lawyer advised him to take whatever deal I offered just to avoid paying my legal fees. Emma tried to reach out through our parents, asking if we could start to heal as a family. Mom delivered the message with obvious reluctance. She says she's learned from her mistakes and hopes you can find forgiveness. My response was simple. She said I never knew how to keep my man happy. Now she can figure out how to keep hers, if she can find one who wants a woman who betrays her own sister. I don't know if what I did was right. I don't know if the complete destruction of their lives was proportional to their betrayal. Some days I feel a flicker of guilt when I think about Mark sleeping in his car or Emma crying in our childhood bedroom. But then I remember that video. I remember their faces when they thought they were getting away with humiliating me. I remember Emma's smirk when she talked about women not knowing how to keep their men. I remember Mark's laugh when he compared us in bed. They didn't just cheat. They didn't just lie. They orchestrated my public humiliation because they thought it would be fun. They thought I was too weak, too trusting, too pathetic to fight back. They were wrong. I sleep through the night now. I wake up in a house that's mine alone, with silence that belongs to me. No more wondering why my husband doesn't want me. No more questioning why my sister makes those little cutting remarks. No more walking on eggshells in my own life. Emma was right about one thing. Some women don't know how to keep their men happy. But I've learned something better. How to keep myself happy without people who don't deserve me. That's been the most satisfying revenge of all. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button.